So today I wanted to talk about what to expect at mediation. Now, mediations can be run quite a few different ways, and it depends at what stage it's run as well. So early stage mediation has a lot of benefits to it. And early stage mediation generally happens before there is any court proceedings. It's to try and prevent court proceedings, and it can be with or without lawyers. So in an early stage mediation, sometimes it's run like a shuttle, but sometimes not. The shuttle sort of form of mediation, late stage mediation that lawyers are often involved in, is a strange sort of hybrid kind of mediation that's evolved and isn't the true concept of what mediation should be. So if you have the opportunity to do an early stage mediation, I think that it's highly recommended with the right mediator. And if you're worried about being in the same room as someone, usually mediators have the space to be able to have separate breakout rooms and so forth. But at the moment, with a lot of things done online and via Zoom, you will have individual time with the mediator yourself. You will have time together with the mediator and the other party. And the mediator really has a lot of flexibility about how to give you time by yourself, give you time with them. But mediation is really about having someone facilitate a discussion between the parties to try and come to a settlement. So the mediator really tries to look at all options available and really discuss the options openly in a facilitated way. The mediator's not there to give advice. The mediator's there to try and smooth the path to a settlement. Now, late stage mediation is a very different sort of occurrence. So a late stage mediation is usually because the matter is in court, so there's proceedings. The parties usually have solicitors already, and the court doesn't like to book something in for a trial unless the parties have tried to resolve it first. So generally the court has a compulsory mediation process built in. Now, this is the form of mediation where tensions are probably far higher than an early mediation, and people may have taken firmer positions, and the solicitors are all involved as well. And quite often then you end up with a barrister representing you as well. So there ends up being, two solicitors for each party, and a mediator is often at this stage a barrister or a solicitor mediator rather than someone who is not in the legal industry. And these mediations have sort of morphed themselves into a shuttle situation where you go along to mediation, and the mediation starts as an open forum with everyone in the same room, with some initial statements said, but no offers made, and very little is done in a joint room generally. So a late stage mediation is often with parties in separate rooms, and it's a shuttle because the mediator is shuttling backwards and forwards, taking offers backwards and forwards. And sometimes options aren't explored as thoroughly as they might be at early stage, because a lot of solicitors will have thought about options prior and ruled things out. So they're not generally discussed as openly as they might be, particularly in a joint forum or in a early stage. So there's huge benefits for mediation. Most things settle at mediation, either early or late stage. I think the figures are up about 95%, so they are quite successful. The other thing about mediation is that people who participate in a mediation sign an agreement to say that anything said at the mediation is confidential and can't be used by either party against the other party further down the line. So it's all done with the idea that people can talk openly so that they can actually try and resolve things. So that's another benefit of mediation. So the earlier I think parties can participate in mediation, the better. Sometimes people think that it's a waste of time and money to do a mediation before court proceedings are started. Firstly, because they don't think there's enough leverage to get the other party to the table to actually have a discussion, a fruitful discussion. And secondly, they think that if the early stage mediation fails, that it's money wasted because they have to then file proceedings anyway and have a late stage mediation again. Both of which reasons I don't think are really valid. But yes, thank you for the comment. I still encourage early stage mediation if at all possible, because if you can resolve it earlier rather than later, it's better for everyone, really. So I think, yeah, that's all the notes that I made for myself that I wanted to make sure that I covered off with mediation. Now, in terms of where to go for mediation, so there are lots of facilities that either run freestyle dispute resolution, so that can reduce the cost as well. In certain areas of the law, an ombudsman may be able to do it for you, or a family relationship centre. It may not be free through a family relationship centre. It might be based on a sliding scale depending on your income. But please try and access some of these facilities as well, rather than jumping straight into a lawyer, which may make matters worse sometimes. So look around to see if an ombudsman's relevant, Dispute Settlement Centre of Victoria, Consumer Affairs, family relationship centres. So all of these places have a free or low cost mediation service where lawyers aren't generally involved. And then if that doesn't work, if you find the right sort of lawyer who's open to doing an early stage mediation, we can actually organise it through a private mediator, through a barrister who could mediate, and then whether you wanted your lawyer to come or not as well. So lots of options. So I hope